Welcome to the Teacher's Toolkit for Literacy, the free podcast for motivated teachers and school leaders who want to inspire their students and school community in literacy learning. Make sure you subscribe to the show on your favourite podcast player, and for more amazing literacy resources, check out the show notes provided with every episode.
Hi, I'm Sharon and I'm the host of A Teacher's Toolkit for Literacy. In every Toolkit episode, we bring you specific resources, tools, strategies, tips, techniques to help you in your job as a teacher of literacy. Firstly, we acknowledge and pay our respects to the Kaurna people, the traditional custodians whose ancestral lands we gather on. We acknowledge the deep feelings of attachment and relationship of the Kaurna people to country, and we respect and value their past, present and ongoing connection to the land and cultural beliefs. And welcome, Phil.
Thanks, Sharon, and welcome back, everyone, to this, our fifth conversation in the series with Dee and Danielle. A wonderful series, Sharon.
Absolutely, and what a journey it's been. And session 5 gets us into something that I think is often misunderstood about writing, the idea that it's a neat, linear process with a beginning, a middle and an end.
Because it's not, is it? Real writing moves back and forth. You draft, you revisit, you revise. You discover something new in the editing that sends you back to the planning.
And what Dee and Danielle have built is a writing cycle that reflects authenticity while still being deeply structured and scaffolded at every stage.
There's also something in this episode that I find really compelling, the idea of pinking your win.
Which is such a simple but powerful concept. Students identify evidence of their own goal being met in their writing, highlight it and own it. Find it, mark it, own it.
It puts the student right at the centre of their own assessment, and paired with the hot task at the end of each unit, where students get to showcase everything they've developed, it becomes a genuine celebration of growth.
And we'll be hearing from 2 students today, Seb and Spenny, and I'm curious to hear how they talk about the cycle from the inside.
So Dee, Danielle, let's get into it.
Welcome. So good to be here chatting yet again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, yes, very lackluster girls. Yes, I know.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, seriously, we're here, at the end of each of the podcasts. We're always at the end of a school day, usually a Monday, so back at the beginning of the week.
Yes.
So this is a big, this is a big thing after a day at school and working in with your students and then bringing all of this, with such clarity and joy to all of us. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's get started on the writing cycle and talking about our first topic, writing as a recursive, authentic process, one that can be revisited, refined and owned at every stage. Planning, drafting, revising, editing and publishing.
Which sounds like a big, exhaustive topic, but it's important, as we'll find from you, Dee and Danielle, that it's really moving away from that linear process of just we set forth we plan, then we draft, then we might do some more drafting, and then we might do some more drafting, and then it's this, quick revise, so it's done.
So guys, can you please introduce us to the 5th of your 5 pillars, the writing cycle?
She's looking at me again, so
No.
I guess.
Oh, yep. There you go.
Writing cycle. So our writing cycle is a non-linear cycle that reflects authentic practice, planning, drafting, editing, revising, support differentiation, with publishing occurring fluidly throughout the process. Each stage is scaffolded through explicit teaching with opportunities to revisit earlier steps through gradual release. Quality is built through refinement and the understanding that writing is not a one and done process. In conjunction with student goal setting in previous pillars, students reflect upon their individual goal by pinking their win, which is identifying evidence of successfully attaining the goal and highlighting it in pink. And our hot tasks at the end of each unit allow students to showcase the skills that they've developed. So our supports and scaffolds in that are our editing code, our checkpoints, which we've talked a lot about. Pink your win, so you find it, you mark it, you own it. Our classroom displays, which are prominent everywhere of our writing process. Our flexible conferencing, and we solidly embed routines. Then we have our assessments and our hot tasks.
Fantastic. And so this episode's really going to into all of those last features of the writing cycle that you talked about. we're really going to go deep into all of those, and that's what you've been so generous about in each of the episodes, is taking us further into how all those things actually work, because it's what we're all looking for, but how do we get there?
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? We get in and we teach stuff, but we don't actually think about what's the best way to do it. So it's been a journey for us as well.
Oh yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, what's the story behind the writing cycle? Why did this become a really big pillar compared to other things you could have noticed?
Especially going back to that one and done. Lots of kids were coming to us thinking that you do a plan, you write a draft, you fix some spelling, maybe a full stop here and there and a comma, publish it, and it's done. So the biggest thing for us was trying to change that mindset of the kids understanding that it's forwards and backwards, and you can it halfway through, start again.
Yep.
Yeah, that idea of one and done is really what you've blasted out here. You know, it's not...
Yeah, it's pretty ingrained, I think, in schools, not specifically speaking about our school, but just across the system, that you really don't have the time to do it.
Yes.
You know, so get one done, do your draft, then do your good copy, and that's it. But it was a journey away for us as well, to step away from, no, let's do this more than once. We can make this better each time.
Yeah.
So going a bit deeper into each of these aspects, first of all, writing as a recursive, authentic process. Can you tell us a bit more about how that works in the classroom, where you have it writing not being the one and done, but it's being recursive and authentic? How has that worked?
Well, I guess that comes through particularly like our mini lessons, where we aim for, we've talked about it before, we look at, if we're talking narrative structure, we look at our expositions and we continue on down. And then giving their kids every opportunity to continue drafting, to come back, to have those editing processes, to go back to refine it. We plan those sections in. It's not, there's no time for it. We sit down together and say, well, this is when their draft is due, so this is when we need to be having a look at it. This is when they need to have a look at it. This is when they need to peer at it. And then they need to be able to go back in between all of those times and look at their own work and fix it.
Yeah.
I think one of those key parts that you just said is we plan it so that we have time. We always make final drafts due on a Thursday or a Friday, which buys us the weekend. So quite often it'll be due on a Thursday, they'll free write Friday, and then that gives us 3 days to get all over it. We got 28 kids, so it's lots of kids to get through.
Yeah.
And it takes time.
Yeah. And they're writing significant amount,
Yes,
significant amount. You know, it's not a small, piece from every student. But I think that's absolutely right, is you have time because you build it in to that
you have
every day. And not only do you build it into your planning, it's built into every part of the process for your students. So they're quite aware of being in the process and that it's not a lockstep.
So just to be clear, they are revisiting their writing and they are changing things on their own, but also with you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
How does that,
absolutely.
How do you manage that?
We normally go through the mini lessons. Once we go into the editing phase, we have a draft submission date. We have a look that they've got a draft. If they've got a draft, moving on. So then that's when we break the following week, we break it down for our different editing processes. So whether it's spelling or grammar or vocab or cohesion, depending on the text type that we're doing. At the end of that week, so we break the mini lessons down, they get to look at it multiple times of certain things. At the end of that week, we always do a peer edit, so they get someone else's opinion, the reader's opinion, before they submit for a teacher edit.
So how are they keeping their enthusiasm up in this process of editing? Previously they've wanted to just do it one and done, but now it's all being extended, isn't it?
Honestly, some of them don't keep their enthusiasm up. And for them, it's a new thing coming in to have us for year 6 and then be doing that.
Yeah.
So it is a constant, have you done this? This needs to be submitted on this date. Have you done this? And that's why we build that as well into our planning, that this is what is going to be looked at on this day. So you need to have it done and you will look at that. And they know it's just a function of lessons.
Does it get smoother as the year goes on?
Technically speaking. Theoretically.
You pick up more and more as you go, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, our kids who are our stronger end, our kids that we need to extend, we find that they come back to us. Well, we've had kids come back 9-10 times for edits because they've written everything down. They've really focused on getting their draft down, and then they've fully bought into the editing process.
Yeah.
It gives them that chance to take risks as well.
Yeah.
With their creativity and their crafting, they'll go away and they'll try something knowing it's going to get looked at again.
Yep.
It's not just that one teacher edit and then you're on your own.
Yeah.
And let's be honest here too. This is a curriculum. This is what the curriculum expects of our, that our students are having access to.
Yes.
So, having the enthusiasm for it is also part of the challenge of the new learning at a year level. And for some of them, it is bigger learning, because maybe they've missed some of the opportunities to do that earlier. But no matter what, whatever your children are bringing to your class, you are giving them the opportunity to access what Year 6, the curriculum is saying they are learning to become better at.
So hard to maintain the enthusiasm sometimes, but you're noticing by doing all this, and they're noticing that their writing's improving. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a key, that they notice that their writing is improving, so they get more buy-in from it. And I think enthusiasm-wise, we have to be enthusiastic about it as well.
Yeah.
And we have to buy in as much as we expect our students to. Otherwise, they're not going to value it the way that we want them to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as you've said, you've brought in real authors who have shown that it's the editing that really makes the difference on their writing.
Yeah.
So that's been a great example to them too.
Yeah. And I think there's many parts of the process that you do build into just the very nature of, the planning that you are doing. You are using a lot of mentor texts to, that is, another expert in the room. We learn from the company we keep, and that we can read differently and notice things differently. And we've talked about that in previous episodes, that real buy-in that you build for children, for your students, so that they can really see themselves, even that purpose and audience, that's a part of publishing. We'll get to that one as one of the pieces of this. That in itself is a really important part of seeing a purpose for your, for your writing and keeping some enthusiasm there.
And they know what they're working on, what they have to improve, because you've got key things that like the critical points list. Is that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they know what they're working towards.
Can I just say with this one, I think one of the clearest ways for people to really understand what that planning looks like is having a look at, the planners that you create. The unit plans really show so clearly how you make time for all of these things to happen. So it isn't just we don't have time. It's on the schedule.
Yeah, it's literally scheduled. Yeah.
And it repeats unit after unit after unit. Those same things are there, the same processes, and it gives them, therefore, with how many units in a year? 7? 6?
No, 7. Because
Seven.
Yeah. Towards the end, we like with graduation and stuff with the Year 6s, we back off and we normally do letters to the next incoming class, but not as such a functional unit as such.
Yeah.
So I think that's also another really amazing demonstration of how you, through that routine. So students aren't just going through this recursive process once in a year. They're going through it every 5 weeks.
Yep.
So that is, that's mighty.
So that's a regular routine, really, isn't it? So,
challenges
that you've found along the way in trying to overcome, and things you've noticed?
Time. Time's been a really big challenge. How do we fit it in? And that's where I think we got really intensely into planning, where we put all those moments where we actually can spend the time with our students and help them better their work. That's probably the biggest one, I think.
Any feedback from the students on this process?
She's staring at me. I think, as you'll hear later, Spenny is one of our students last year. She went through a massive process. She come into us as an average student. Throughout the 12 months that we had her, she did make growth as in a grade in English. But she was determined. She learnt the process early. She learnt the value in editing. And she absolutely, through every unit, worked her butt off to make sure she came to us multiple times to get absolutely everything out of it she could.
Now, there's a really key point, isn't it? She learnt the process.
Yeah.
Now, any child experiencing the process 6-7 times in a year is taking that with them. How they, engage in it in the year and all the things that they set up with you, they are also, however, taking something beyond their year with you into, I have a process at hand.
Yeah.
I've gone through it 7 times. I'm going to be thinking about that when I'm, in my next year of school, and I mightn't have, a process clearly laid out for me. So I think that in itself is, the real power of the challenge that you had. How do we move from linear to recursive, and finding a way to do that and finding a way to refine it so that you could do it within a 5-week span.
Yeah.
And I will, hands up, say, I remember you saying we will never have time to do that.
I think we said that more than once, didn't we?
It's never going to happen.
How are we going to do this?
And I
It's not gonna
know
work.
how much cursing was going on because
No.
Nope.
because
No,
it is
never.
that shift, isn't it, from
Yeah.
we've only got time for the linear, even if that time is 6 months, but to be bold enough to try to see how a process can be repeated 7 times in a year, I think is just, it speaks volumes to your persistence and tenacity to really solve the problem.
And pig-headedness.
I think one of the biggest parts was breaking our editing down into tiny parts, day by day, pulling out the bits that were vital to that particular piece.
Yeah.
I think that helped the kids understand, and it didn't seem so out of reach anymore.
Yeah. And that's a really good example, isn't it, of, right, when you keep doing that, you're actually building every time.
So
It's not a new process every time.
So when you have this breaking down, what sort of resources do you have in the classroom that will help the kids in that? Is there visual things? They've got the routine that they go through. What supports are there to help them?
Yeah, we have a school-wide editing code, so the kids use the same editing code that we use, which makes it a lot faster. For instance, they'll know that if a word's circled, it's spelling. If it's got a box around it, a rectangle, it's vocab. There's squiggly lines for doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Lots of different symbols that just make it quick and fast, and there doesn't need to be that excessive communication. It's obviously we still talk to them about it, but having the editing code makes it much faster and easier for everyone to understand.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good visual representation on their work. They can just look at it and know, okay, well, I've got lots of spelling here because there's lots of circled words, but I also have this great chunk of stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So there's that ability then to focus quite intensely on whatever it is that needs to be corrected.
Yes, yeah.
Or improved, not
Yes.
necessarily corrected.
And you're
Yeah,
highlighting
that's-
things that they need to work on, and are they looking for those things themselves?
Yeah, so the initial, once they've done the draft, we do all the mini lessons with editing, and that's all self-editing. Then they do the peer editing before we will even look at it and edit.
Okay, so using the kids with kids to help.
Yeah.
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 And then it's not all on you as the teacher.
Yeah, and it's probably one of the hardest things to step away from is to not have it all on the teacher to do it, because you don't have the time.
No, you've just got to work out other ways to do it, don't you? And,
Yes, yeah.
and it's perfect that you've got those 28 kids so they can all help each other as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
And give them agency in that process. Yeah.
So before you had one and done, and now you've got a really recursive process. So it must be a big change that you've noticed over those, like looking back and looking to where you are now.
Yeah, the agency and buy-in of the kids, like, it is vastly different from what it used to be. They come to us probably expecting that they're going to do a one and done and find out pretty promptly that's not how it works. You need to go back and refine it, like everything in life. If you want it to be better, you keep practicing. We tell them that with sports, with music, with dance, whatever.
Yep.
And yes, now they understand that. And we do see improvement. There are a lot of students, particularly our higher end students, who produce things that are really quite good to start off with. So they are actually bringing in, not only are they creatively getting their work set out and their ideas out, but they're actually already versed in making sure that their punctuation is already in there before they need to edit it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not something that holds up their process.
Well, that's the important thing, is because you don't want the creative process to be hampered by the editing. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it becomes very intuitive for them.
And lots of those kids head more into crafting and literary devices and stuff like that because they have the basics, the structure, they get it.
Yeah.
It allows us that opportunity to extend them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah.
And that's where that editing or revising isn't just about correcting, it's about recrafting.
Yes. Yeah.
Or that it's about improvement. It's an opportunity to do something that you didn't know you could do.
Yeah, something extraordinary.
Yeah.
So let's look at get a bit closer into looking at how it's working in the classroom and looking at flexible conferring. So what is that, and what does that look like in the classroom, so we can get a picture of what's going on?
We generally, like we said, take it home over the weekend and do the edit. We've moved a lot more from, especially with our editing code, the underline, the squiggly line doesn't make sense, and just asking the questions why there's something missing. Earlier on, I would have to admit, we were very caught up in trying to fix stuff for them.
Yes. Yep.
Rather than identifying this needs fixing, you need to fix it.
Okay, yeah, that's a step.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So once we do that, when we come back the following week, they'll get to work working through their changes, but we will also sit down one-on-one and go through the writing piece and explain everything that has happened to them. They're also very free to, once they go away and start making those changes, they'll come back and question something like, I'm not sure what you meant here, how can I fix that? And that's where you get those on-the-spot moments, like, you've said I need to do this, but I don't know how. So we sit there with them and we talk them through it, and we throw ideas around, still putting the ownership on them, but helping them work through it.
And often that doesn't necessarily always happen within our literacy block.
Okay.
It might happen before school.
Yeah, that's
so as they come in, get themselves ready, we might go, oh, hey, I've just finished looking at your stuff. Do you want to come over? Give me 5 minutes and I'll explain to you. Yeah. So that allows those students the opportunity in the literacy block to then just go ahead and start working on it. And we can pull in kids who might need extra help or further direction, kids who are coming up for 5 or 6 or 7 edits.
Is that
really any moment we find during the day if we need to.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean by flexible conferring? Is that one reason you use that term?
Yeah, I guess so, because we do it whenever we get a moment. It might be that we've spotted one of our students has finished, I don't know, something in science, and we'll say, well, hang on, come over here. I've got 5 minutes before the other guys finish. Let's talk about your story. Let's talk about your poem, whatever it is that we're working on. But also the fact that flexibility in terms of you can come back to us 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, however many times you need. We are here for you to help you refine this and answer your questions, figure out what you want to do, where you want to go with your piece so that it suits purpose and audience and the intention of the assessment piece.
So if a child does want some more help, how do they go about asking you for that? Or, do they come to you? I'm imagining, once again, it's not necessarily in a literacy block time. It might be at another time. Talk us through about how they might
get to you.
Get to you, so to speak.
Yeah, well, I guess when our kids get time, they're normally like, if they've finished something early, they'll be doing one of two things. They'll either read or they'll generally go and pick up a writing piece if they know they've got work to do and the time's coming down. So it's just a lot of it is on the spot. What they need clarified. If we find we've got a small group of kids with a similar issue, then that's when we'll bring them in for the masterclasses that we talked about. I have it a little bit more planned and targeted. But yeah, otherwise it's where they're at, what they need. If they've got a question, we spend a lot of time with our kids helping them understand with the classroom culture that it's okay not to understand. It's okay to ask questions. You're not learning if you're not asking. If you're not asking us questions, we're not doing our job.
Yeah.
So your beginning talk, say a student sits down with you, what's your beginning talk to them? How's it going with your writing, or how do you
Positives
first?
Yeah.
But if a child has come to you with a question, then of course it's
straight
already
in.
started.
Yeah.
So how do you work the positives? What do you do there?
Well, often we'll say things like, you've got a really fantastic idea here. Your first page is fabulous, but then you kind of dip off.
Right.
Can you tell me what happened in this section? Or and kids, like anyone of us, are not great with taking the compliments. So the positive feedback is it is quite jarring for them sometimes. And I know I go overboard because I've seen some kids working up like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, where did this come from? What made you write this piece? And they stand there and look at you completely astonished.
Yeah.
Like, A, she's being nice to me. What does she want?
Finally. No.
Yeah. B, I don't know how to answer that question because nobody's ever asked me before.
And grin stupidly.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. But I mean, heap the praise on the kids when they do something and they do often do ridiculously astonishing things that we just look at each other and go, where did that child? Why have they not shown this earlier? Why have they been holding back?
I always found being really specific on your praise is way better than being, this is great writing. Just being general. You've got to really hone in on what they are good at,
You do, yeah. And you point, like with poetry at the moment, I pointed out to one of our students today, this section here that you've written, this part of these two stanzas, that is incredible. Like, you've got a lot of imagery in that. I can feel that. And he just, he stood there and looked at me and went, okay, thanks. Great.
Because they're actually getting genuine audience response.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's not something that comes readily for our students, I don't think. It takes time, once again. But being able to do that in a flexible conference, to be able to just say, you know what, this is a great part.
Yeah.
This is, and so that cycle, that we talk about, observe something, give them some, feedback on what's working well here.
But they've also put themselves out there in, laying themselves out there with their own thoughts and feelings, and it's important to praise and.
Yeah, it's an intimidating process being creative.
Yeah.
So and then when you find out you're getting marked on it, I mean, realistically in the real world, if you're creative, we don't really give you a grade for it.
No.
We get reviews and critiques, but for the kids it can be quite harrowing.
Yeah. Putting a number on it or letter or whatever. Yeah.
I just want to, before we move too much further into the flexible conferring, of course, during writing time, that's what you are doing. If you're not running a masterclass and after there's been the mini lesson, you are fully available for students to be having you to confer with them. So,
Yeah.
you dedicate a lot of time to doing that.
But I think this is the pedagogical shift with some teachers, is to realise that you can do that individual work with these kids in your classroom because all the others are working
On task.
Yes. Yeah.
but interested in doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is too that we have quite a few kids in our class that struggle with confidence. So not only being available for them to come to, but making ourselves available to do that wander around the room and have a look over the shoulder. Hey, you look like you're stuck. Do you need help? No.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I can help you with this. So, and just that knowing your kids and knowing when to push when they do need your help. They're just not ready yet to say, hey, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So that's roving conferencing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Roving.
Yeah. Which is quite a different approach. That I know you run the master classes, and students can choose to come to those, and sometimes it's, you've got set things that you're doing. But what this is also doing is knowing your students so well that you are trusting them, and they know they're being trusted to get on with their writing, but you're there as the, you're not pulling them out and saying, oh, you're not very good at this part. So, you're also encouraging them to come forward and say, you know what, I'm having a bit of a struggle here.
And maybe the other really big thing here is that they're choosing what they're writing, and that's so they've got ownership. It's not some sort of worksheet they're doing that's going to try and keep them busy in the classroom. It's what they really want to write. And so, yes, they will go and work independently on that because it's something they want to do. Do you think is that how it works?
Well, that's a huge part of it, yeah. And we've always been very upfront about saying to our kids, how can we help you? We are here to help.
Yeah.
How can we help you? What do you need from us?
Yeah.
And again, probably not necessarily a traditional way of teaching, but it encourages the confidence, encourages the independence, and they get to know themselves as well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I know I struggle with show, don't tell. Can we sit down? Can you show me how I can take this bit where you've said I've got a lot of telling? Can you help me turn it into a showing?
Yeah.
And isn't it amazing that they get to try those things not just once in a year, but, here I am, I know this isn't a strong part for me, and, maybe it wasn't so strong in my last piece. Here I am again, and I can make it stronger. So it's that recursive process isn't just happening within a unit, it's happening across a whole year.
Yeah. And quick write helps with that, having a go at things too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's not just, what challenges have there been that you've had to overcome? There's the time issue.
There's always time, but I think especially with a new class coming in, the kids' confidence and how to handle them with care.
Yeah.
There's some kids that'll come in guns blazing, full of feedback. I want to improve. Show me how to do it.
Yep.
And then you've got the kids in your class that severely lack confidence in their ability. So possibly coming in with them rather than saying like, this is not right or this is not working. Do you remember the mini lesson we did on whatever it may be? How do you feel like that looks like in your piece? Oh, yeah, okay. All right. Then where's a point you think we can improve that? And it's always we. It's never you.
Yeah, it's never us. Never your job to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, yes, but we will help you get around the idea of what you need to do, and then you go.
That's a really powerful point, and that real gradual release. It's not only about, I showed you, now you be independent with it. It's, okay, how can we? And that's what a real conference is doing, is observing great things that are going on and giving that feedback, but then saying, okay, what part can we work on together? And let's do that. So some more teachings happening at that time.
Yeah.
So that they can get to see,
So in previous times, there's definitely an older way of doing all this, and you've come to this way of doing writing. How different is it? And
I think it's vastly different. I think, number one, our kids have that agency.
Yeah.
And we do still scaffold, and we still do those lessons where we talk about this is what the exposition is, or this is your introductory paragraph. This is what's expected in it. But they are given multiple opportunities to practice that.
Yep.
I guess our teaching is not one and done as well.
Yes. I think
There's that opportunity over and over and over again to get stuck into whatever it is that we're looking at. And often, as Dee has said in one of our previous chats, we get the kids to write, for argument's sake, for an introduction, write 3 opening sentences or write 3 opening paragraphs. Now choose which one's the best. Why is it the best? Why do you like that one? How does that work? Why does that one work better than all the rest of them? So, yeah, there's a lot of buy-in. There's a lot of them getting their confidence increased, and a lot of repetition of the skill that we want from them, which I don't think sort of necessarily happened in the past.
I really like that term, our teaching's not one and done as well. Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah. Can I just add on to that too? And I think
I'm sorry there isn't time. No,
It's very good. It's very good. There's that real intentionality with your 7 units as well, that they're not just following the same process. Each of them is allowing you to expose students to different features of different types of texts.
Yes.
You know, to the language features. You know, there's each of those gives a different opportunity for
skill attainment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, I'm really fascinated by what pinking your win means.
Well, this is a new one for us. This is something we brought into play probably end of last year, beginning of this year. We've always done goal setting with our kids. So at the beginning of every unit, as we've said, they do a cold task. So that cold task has a rubric with A to E's on it with everything we're looking for. Obviously, you've seen how thoroughly we plan. We are already planned, but what comes from those cold tasks is, okay, we'd plan this lesson, but you know, we probably don't need that, but we need to focus on something else. And from that cold task, with us, our kids set a goal. So they'll get written feedback, and they decide out of that written feedback what goal they're actually going to work on.
Amazing.
Yeah, so obviously they do the unit, and at the end we will revisit with a hot task. So the pinking your win comes into their published piece because they've done all the work. And at times we also get them to do it with a hot task. It's always different trying to showcase your skill under time pressure in a short time frame. But I think necessary, because our kids every couple of years go through NatPlan or Walner or those sort of things. They need to learn to write to time constraints. But the pinking your win just gives them an opportunity to showcase something that they've worked really hard at and they're proud of. It's accountability as well.
Yep.
So what does it look like?
Yep.
What are they physically doing?
Literally getting a pink highlighter and highlighting where in their piece they can see that they have achieved their goal or got closer to their goal. They may not have fully achieved it. They might not feel that way. But they find this example of, this is where I've really done it.
Wow.
Yeah, or attempted to.
Yes. Yeah.
And then what do you do with that? They've highlighted that. Then what do you do?
I think it's just celebrating them and their accomplishments.
Yeah. Right.
It doesn't necessarily carry a whole lot more with it other than, yes, I have actually addressed my goal that I set out to do. And, you know, sometimes we'll go ask them to pink their win and they'll be that, I'm not sure. And sometimes we read with them and we find it, and sometimes they may not have managed to do it, but that doesn't mean they weren't successful.
Yep.
So that has got to be a really amazing example of the importance of students being able to reflect. You know, to really, and reflection is actually such a powerful part of the feedback loop. Feeding back to yourself and noticing for yourself what you've done, what you've achieved, what I thought I've achieved, but I didn't quite get there.
Yeah.
they are things that are very rare, and here you are building that in.
So what have you noticed how it's affected the kids?
I think it's awareness.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, going back to the challenges, like we've had to create a classroom culture where critique and feedback is viewed as a positive thing. It's not a negative, oh, you've muffed this up or this is not good. It's how can I improve myself? So them being able to highlight where they think they've attained a goal or where they're getting closer to it, it's that nice visual thing of like, yes, I've done it. I've done it. With this is great. I have achieved something, or I maybe need to work a little bit harder on that, but I've almost got it.
Now they're pinking their win in their hot task. Is that correct?
Hot task.
Yeah, it can
published
be anywhere.
task.
Oh,
yeah.
Anywhere.
All right. It can
Yep.
be at any time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Nice.
Right.
So that means, how often might they do a pinking their win? Like say in a unit.
Is it a weekly thing or?
Oh, I guess it depends because we can also do Pinky Win related to a mini lesson.
Yeah.
Right.
So if
yeah.
we've brought in a new craft or a new technique, something,
Yes.
then, okay, now show me where you've taken that mini lesson and applied it to your writing.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Wow. That's the gold right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of gold in all
Have,
of
have
it.
there been challenges in the process?
Yes. Getting them to accept feedback.
Yeah.
Running
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
pink highlighters, maybe.
Yeah. People are really reticent to accept positive feedback.
Yeah.
Like you'll accept negative feedback. You won't not like it, but you go like, yep, no worries, okay. But as soon as someone says, like, gives you that praise or that positivity, you kind of you internally and some of our kids externally cringe. So
Yeah.
it's that confidence of like, yeah, I have done it.
Yeah.
I can do
also-
this. I am a writer.
Yeah, I also think there's a flip side of that too. When you ask them, say, after a mini lesson to pink where they've used it, and they haven't, they can't find it. It's that
Oopsies.
culture and that we build that, okay, no, you haven't managed to do it this time. How can we make sure that next time you have a go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you put that in place. So it is tough, especially when they realise that they haven't done it. But it's that safe environment and understanding that we've got their back, not this time, but
There's always
we'll work
another
on it.
opportunity.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
So this is really differentiation, just so alive and well, isn't it? For any task, everything is, as soon as you pink your work, it's clearly saying whether I've got it or not, and it's fine not to have got it,
Yeah.
but it's also acknowledging I haven't got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also allows each of the students to celebrate their peers as well.
Yeah.
Oh, you almost got it. If
Yeah.
there's someone who hasn't been able to pink a win,
Yeah.
their partner, their desk partner might say, look, you've almost done it. I can see where you've started on this one. Yeah, almost there.
Yeah. So more feedback again.
Yeah.
This opportunity to go, and actually when someone else articulates it too, it sometimes just gives us another insight into,
Yeah.
right.
So what
That's
do
what I
the-
was starting to do.
What do the students say about this pinking the win? Have been any anecdotal comments about it?
Not really. I just think they go, oh, it's another thing we have to do. Hurry up. No, they're lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's probably just more about bringing the realisation around of every mini lesson has a point. We do follow through.
Yep.
And expect to see it in their writing. And those few that realise they don't have it, the look on their face, that initial uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, they learn that it's not bad, it's okay.
Yeah.
And that they've just not got there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key word, yet.
Yes.
Before you did pinking the win, and now you're doing it, what's the difference? What have you noticed?
I think the realisation in them and their awareness of where they're at, what they're achieving, what they need to do to, if they haven't yet achieved it, then okay, what went wrong? How do I fix this? So that self-awareness of their ability, owning their own work and what they're doing.
And also honing in on what they have needing to be focusing on.
Yeah.
So really giving them the focus, isn't it? Like laser focus.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also gives a focus for you as teachers then for what masterclasses you might need to be then running, or what so that's, or what's my next mini lesson, because
what do I need to speak in a conference with this particular student the next time. Okay, let's show them how to do that.
It's the flip side of you looking at their work and trying to show them what they need to improve in. It's the flip side of it, isn't it? They're actually honing in on the positives.
Yeah.
And actually having it highlighted on a page too is an incredible record of where we think we've achieved something, noticing and naming it, and then noticing whether it did or didn't work, but then you as teacher noticing, we're all doing pretty well with this. Yeah. Actually, there's a lot who aren't doing well with this, right, mini lesson time. So that constant feedback, self-reflection and feedback.
Okay. Now I'm really also intrigued by hot tasks, guys. What is that about?
I love a hot task. I really do. I really look.
And it's not about cooking, is it?
No. Well,
I don't think that's where Danielle was going.
No, I was totally going with. I love them because with the piece that we've worked on in class, in the end result, the published work that comes from the unit, there's been a lot of input from us. So a hot task is that moment that our students have where we're hands off. They've got the ability and the time then to show us everything that they've picked up. It's their time to shine without us sticking our finger in and saying, hey, do you want to maybe work on this bit? So I do love a hot task.
So what does it actually look like? Can you give an example of what that could look like?
So we actually create them. They're in a A3 bit of paper, folded in half. We have on the front, we have their task, so the purpose of the task. It has the rubric that we are marking, so A to E, all the little bits broken down. On the inside, it'll generally have, depending on what it is. So we've done informational ones where we've had, notes, or this is the topic. We've done narrative where we've given them 4 options of narrative. So they've got to choose one and write it. And then we normally just get them to write on paper and staple it in. So it actually ends up like a little booklet that we, in our classroom, we have what we call an assessment book. So it's a scrapbook, and any assessment that our kids do in any subject area goes in there. What I love about it is you have the cold task and the hot task that both have the exact same rubric, and letting them sit there and look at their cold task and the hot task and the growth they've made.
Yeah, that's a moment, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah. Like we hand those out and you just kind of sit somewhere in the classroom just watch their faces.
Yeah.
So can you give an example of what you'd have on that hot task? It's a piece of writing they need to do.
Yep.
Yeah. So for that unit.
Yep.
And it might be focused on one thing, or is it what is it?
Yeah, it's focused on one thing. So like with our narrative one, we gave them an option of I think it was 4 openings or 4 sentences that they could use as a stimulus. They got to choose which one. They had to circle which one they chose so that we know before planning that they've got an idea that they're going to run with, because otherwise they'll sit there for the hour that we give them and go, I can't think of what to write with any of them. So they have to make that decision on which sentence they want to use. They then plan it. We put our plot in a box on that as well. They go through that, then they write. So we come up with, 4 sentences that we think are really cool. And that give them, and they have different sort of genres to them so that there's something for everyone. And there's ones that seem really complex, ones that seem more simple, that, there's an entry point for every student on there.
Is it related to their mentor text?
No.
Okay.
It's just an opportunity to shine, to say, look, we've done all of these things about narrative writing. Now you show us what you can do.
And I guess we purposefully give them those options, especially like with narrative. There might be a sci-fi option, a fantasy option, whatever the options are, in that chance to showcase we always write better with what we know. So we try and give that window into majority of the things that they know or they love or they like, rather than saying you all must write sci-fi and half our class is like, oh,
Yeah, that's good.
So how many times in a year would they do a hot task?
At the end of every unit.
8,
So,
Right.
Yeah.
or 7,
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like they're doing a cold task at the beginning of the unit and then a
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Yes.
hot one at the end. Yeah.
And that's an hour-long process.
A little longer.
Yeah, a little
We
longer.
don't. We normally give them a few minutes to select their idea. 20 minutes planning.
20 minutes planning, yeah.
20 minutes planning, an hour to write, 20 minutes to edit.
Right.
Whatever they have in planning, they have in editing.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's a whole writing process in the one.
Yes.
It takes a couple of hours,
yeah.
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 Yep.
And do they do it in one sitting?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a 2-hour block at the beginning of the day and between recess and lunch. So they'll come in and that'll be a session.
Yep.
And
Do
we
you
time
ever-
it for them so that they know that they've got, here's your think about
Oh,
what idea.
Yeah,
You've got
we've
2
got
minutes
the
to think
time.
about it.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is where your planning starts. 20 minutes go. And we have the timer on for them.
Yep.
Same for writing and editing.
Do you ever leave one of the choices as free choice?
I just knew you were going there. Something we haven't considered, but guess what will be in our next one?
Yeah.
Yeah, never thought of that.
I
Sharon-
think
Sharon's
probably in the back of
coaching.
our mind. Yeah, well, I think in the back of our mind has been like, oh, you know what it's going to be like? They're going to be sitting there wondering what they're going to write. And they're going to say they don't have any ideas. And no. Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be in the next one.
Just as an option. Yes, not but that's the thing, isn't it? Not as the only thing, that's just, come up with something yourself, but
And have you noticed it working well?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely gives them a chance to see their growth. And we don't ever have kids that go backwards that haven't made growth. So to be able to line it up, and we highlight it, so to be able to look at your highlight from your first one and the next one, it makes them realise even those that have only made small improvements, there's still improvement.
Yeah.
And every 5 weeks, how big does improvement have to look? It's like across things as, in a 5-week time frame, I think that's just glorious for them to know that, look, I've improved in this, whatever that is, there's been an improvement point.
So I guess it's really involving them in on their assessment process, because a previous way of doing this might have been, they do their piece of writing, then the teacher assesses it, but you're actually involving them by doing the cold task and the hot task.
Yeah.
They're part of the whole process.
Yeah, and with something like narratives, which we hit twice a year, they have their cold and their hot tasks from the first time they've done their narrative, and then their cold and their hot tasks from the second time. So that's had that little bit of time to sit there and cook away with their skills and sink in, and then when they come to it the second time, there's a vast improvement generally from their cold task in the new one and their hot task in the previous one.
Moving on to publishing. Can you tell us a bit about?
Yes, because publishing is not
It's
how
It's
how
not for the
we
faint-hearted, is
traditionally.
it?
No.
How does it work in the classroom, publishing?
Yeah, we use lots of different ways to publish. We're doing a poetry unit at the moment, and currently, so we have our cupboard doors, which are called the Right Stuff, and we always put up their published piece. So this time around with our poetry, they've done a limerick, but they've actually published it in their handwriting. They've done illustration, they've coloured it. Quite often, we do a lot of things through technology. Canva is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
Yeah, agree.
Yep. And all of our published stuff is made into a class book. And in our shelves in our classroom library, every new year comes through, there's always access to our previous year's classes books. So whether that's narratives, we've made picture books. So like our Philip Bunting ones, we actually make a picture book that looks very much like his.
And I might just tell our listeners that On Teachific is one of those published books.
Ballads.
The Ballads book. Really great that it's on there and people can have a look at that.
See a sample of what a published. It's an anthology.
Also,
Yes, it is.
yeah. Also, while we're talking about that, the writing units, there's currently 4 up there of your writing units with critical points and your planning documents. So for others to see that, they can see that on Teachific. So
can I just come back to the poetry? So this is the thing, and you've already mentioned it earlier in the podcast, and I think this is an important point too, is that you're not only publishing as necessarily the last thing in the process. You are publishing as they go.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
oh,
Well, particularly with this unit. So they've published a limerick. Yeah. They've also written 2 apology poems that they are publishing. So with the apology poems, they had to choose a topic and then they had to write the same poem with a different voice. So a sincere and genuine voice and a more humorous, sarcastic tone about the one topic.
nice.
We also they've done the 4 verses of a
4
ballad.
verses of ballad.
So not a full ballad, but we brainstorm and come up with a plan and idea and everything as a class. And then they had to write the first 4 verses.
So they've already written. So how far through the unit are we?
We are 2 days away from D-Day.
Right. And they have already completed a limerick, 2 apology
apologies.
poems, and 4 verses of a ballad.
Yes.
And a free verse.
And the free verse that they...
The free verse is their actual published piece.
Yeah. But they've been
written-
publishing all the other things along
Yes.
the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And they've written far more than what they've published.
Yes, they have written far more. They've had far more practice at that.
Yeah.
The limerick was they actually chose one that they had written.
Yes.
Same with the apology poems. They got in and did quite a few of those. And
yeah.
I actually learnt that from Sharon, where there'd be a whole lot of writing going on in our classroom and then we'd publish right at the very end. But it's really fantastic, this idea of let's publish bits as we go along and then we can put all those together towards the end.
Yeah.
You know, that was a whole new thought for me.
Yeah. Well,
it certainly makes things a lot easier. Because at the end of it, ultimately we have to assess our students.
Yep.
And we've got so much to assess them on.
Yeah. And if you're doing it along the way,
Yeah.
you're actually doing the drafting, writing,
Yes.
editing, publishing,
Repeatedly.
Yes.
Yeah.
which is much
Rather
more manageable than
singularly
trying to do the
Yeah.
whole publishing thing right at the very end. I mean,
Yeah, because that does take a lot of, especially when we put it into books, there's a lot of editing that goes into that too. Not every student will complete all of the edits that you've suggested. So before they go into the class book, there needs to be another level of adult editing that Dee and I will sit down and do before it goes into the book, so that, I mean, something has come up recently for me is I really don't like people being humiliated. I can't stand to see it, watch it, hear it. So the last thing that we want to do is give the kids the impression that their work is being laughed at because they've made a mistake.
Yeah.
So that's when we step in at the end before it gets published for our class book. And a copy of that book also goes to our school library. We want them to look the best that they can.
Yeah.
So again, we'll bring those kids over to us and do a bit of conferencing and say, okay, you submitted this, but I need some clarification on these points. Can you help me out so that we can sort this for the book?
Yes. Yeah. And that is, do you know, I'm not 100% sure it's written into our curriculum, but the idea that the teacher is actually the final editor for, especially for general publication.
Yeah.
That is, and you do that in the best way possible. The student themselves see where they, what they've achieved, with their publication and how far they have got in that piece. And then really a lot of the ownership is then taken over by a teacher to do the final edit of that. And then a child gets to see that in its final form. Like, how joyous is that? You know, and that's not a I mean, you know.
Well, there's your motivation. Like, they know this is going to be published, and other people are going to see it, and it looks fantastic. I mean, that's why writers write novels. You know, it's for the audience that they're writing for, and they're going to see it published.
And let's be real. None of us who write do the final edit.
But
it's all better because someone far more expert.
If we were drafting all year and just writing for ourselves or just for the teacher, not as much fun.
No, I think also the other element we have to our publishing is quite often when we've had author contact, authors come in, we actually send the book to the author. We've got some lovely things back from those authors when their texts have given us inspiration.
Yes, yeah. Which is what an amazing part of the cycle.
So what are the challenges in publishing?
Time.
Time.
And I think the students' ability to use different platforms. So Canva for us is one. It's becoming more popular now, but going through and learning how to place things and learning how to do everything. But even something as simple as Word, there's lots of things on Word that kids don't know how to use.
Yeah.
Someone told me once that every software program people use only probably 10% of it.
Yeah.
There's so much to programs to use, but anyway, that's another story, another day. And what do the kids feel about publishing?
I think it's pride.
Yeah. They're excited about it. They love seeing what the kids the previous year have produced. And often when we do, if kids have finished work and they're going off for a read, you'll see them grabbing hold of whatever text it is that we're doing. So if we're looking at poetry now, so a couple of the kids have gravitated towards the poetry anthologies that we have done. And you'll see them flicking through, and especially too if they've got if we've taught their siblings, they love to go and have a look at what they wrote, and mine's better than that, or I've got to up my game a bit to get to what so and so's done. But there's that, and there is a joy about it. And I think they do get excited when they find out that it's in the library.
Yes, that it's being shared with the community, read by the community.
I did this only for a couple of class books where I had lots of comments pages right at the back of it so that people in the library or class could, as long as it was constructive, nothing negative. Anyway.
And once again, you know, that's 7 times a year, where at least 7 times a year, sometimes more, you know, when you've got a poetry unit, etc., that really that opportunity to publish, you know, for some children, publishing, the reality is publishing doesn't come for some children. You know, they can have written some things, or they've completed worksheets, or but where has been the thing that has meant something?
Well, that's what I was going to talk about in previous times when we didn't do as much publishing to now where there's much more publishing. What differences have you noticed?
I think the drive in the students, knowing that at the end of it, this is going to be published and it is going to go into a book. There's that drive to make sure it's done and it's done well, because I've got a bigger audience than just myself and my teacher.
Yeah, it's that understanding of purpose.
Now, time to hear from our 2 students. We'll start with Seb. Do you want to talk a bit about Seb?
Yeah, Seb was one of our stronger writers. He came to us quite strong. Seb has an extensive vocab, like I believe got 100% in certain standardised tests in his vocab. He is amazing, but he was someone that had this knowledge of words but didn't particularly use them. So he did a lot of growth on working out how to get that language into his work. Yeah, so let's go straight into hearing from Seb. Here we go.
Interview with Seb on December 16. Seb, how would you explain the writing cycle of planning, drafting, revising, editing and publishing in your own words?
I'd explain it like you start with you have to plan the text itself, but then after you actually finish drafting it, it's a loop of editing and revising for quite a bit until you've actually got a good piece to hand in to finish.
Which stage of that writing cycle helps you the most, and what does it help you do better?
I think the planning phase, it helps me make so my stories aren't just less telling, more showing.
Nice. Why do you think it's helpful to move through each stage of the cycle rather than rushing straight to a final piece?
Because then your story would just be really boring, this happened, and it wouldn't make as much sense as if you actually gone through and checked everything.
Nice. How does planning, using things like success criteria, anchor charts, vocab, learning intentions, help you prepare for writing?
So I guess I can learn new tricks to help me make my writing better, all that sort of stuff.
And when you revise your work, what kinds of changes do you usually make, and how do those changes improve your writing?
I think I usually change punctuation and spelling to start with, but then towards the end I'll start changing more bigger things, more bigger things.
What strategies help you notice areas that need fixing or polishing when you're editing? So do things like our editing code help you? Do strategies of things like peer editing help and self-editing?
I think the one that helps most would be self-editing, just make it make sense.
Yep. What writing goals do you set for yourself, Seb, and how do they help you improve from one piece of work to the next?
I use my vocabulary because I know I have a big vocabulary.
You have an extensive vocabulary.
It's just I don't use it as much in my writing, so it helps me use it more if I just think about it.
Just a side question that's not on here. Why don't you use the vocabulary that you have in your writing?
I'm not sure. I just when I'm writing, I just don't think of it. I just
Okay. What does feedback from your peers or Mrs. Ludlam and myself help you decide what to work on next, or what future goals to set?
It'll tell me what whichever I notice I've done the most mistakes on, I'll think I'll pay more attention to that next time.
Excellent. Yeah.
In one text I kept forgetting full stops after speech, but then the next one I mostly fixed that.
Yep. How does reading texts, such as our mentor text that we use, examples that we pull out, classroom models, help you understand how to structure and improve your writing?
Well, the way that the text has done it, I can kind of base it off that, which can help quite a bit.
And last one, what routines or steps help you become more independent in your writing, and how does following that process build that independence?
Maybe with when I do peer editing, it makes me realise how I need to improve myself, and then after that period I can actually start realising that in my own self edits.
Excellent. Thanks, Seb.
Spenny, as Dee said earlier, she really was determined to make the most out of everything she could get from us in her literacy sessions. And she wanted to produce texts that weren't kiddie. She wanted them to be more indicative of a Year 6 student. And she really, really took on board everything we were offering her. And Spenny being Spenny, give it to her straight. Yeah. That's how she wants it. She wants the feedback. You just tell me what to do, and I will sort that out. Tell me where you need me to fix something, and I will do that immediately. So I did throw a question to her, I think, that we hadn't planned, and that was, I think, about what was the moment where everything seemed to click. And it did catch her off guard, but I think she ended up answering that one quite well. So I think that's the very last question in the interview.
Beautiful. Right. Well, we'll wait to hear what Spenny reveals to us about, the writing process for her.
And now it's over to the interview with Spenny.
Interview with Spenny on the 16th of December. What steps, Spencer, do you usually take from the moment you get a writing idea to the moment it becomes a published piece?
I usually plan the idea out and then see if the characters work with it, change it if I need to.
Yep. How do you stay focused and organised while you're working on a long-term writing project? Because that writing project's 6 weeks.
I tend to block out everyone and I'm listening with headphones on and no one's there.
Yep. Where do you think your best writing ideas come from during that process?
drama. Like, I take drama that's happened and then change the names.
Yep. How does revising it fit into the way you create your finished piece?
I think it helps because I can change stuff, change my idea if I need to in the topic and characters around and stuff.
Similar question, how does editing fit into the way that you create your finished piece?
It helps when I get like peer edits so I can see what people think of my writing piece and then read it out loud to make sure it actually makes sense.
How do you decide what parts of your writing need to be revised before moving towards publishing?
Probably the stuff that I've more rushed, like the stuff that just poured out that need help, like changing.
When you revise, what kind of changes do you usually make first, and why do you make those ones first?
I tend to do spelling, so then I can move on and then reword and move stuff around.
What kind of feedback from classmates helps you the most during your revision?
Probably it doesn't make sense. These words need to be changed.
Yep. And how does feedback from Mrs. Ludlam and myself during conferencing shape the next step that you take in your writing?
It shapes the next step I take in my writing by like helping me with making it better and to make sure it's my best work of writing.
How do classroom expectations or our standards guide the way that you work through your writing process?
I think it's because you have to work hard and produce stuff that isn't at a little kid's level, and actually have minimal pages and stuff.
I'm going to throw you a curveball. I'm going to ask you a question that's not on here.
Yeah.
Your books are amazing. They're filled with all of your editing process and all of your writing. What was the moment that you went, I have to follow all of these structures to get from this mess to this published piece? Was there a particular piece that you were writing when that clicked in?
I think it was probably when we had to do them narratives and have to change it because I don't want to make it like everyone else's. I want to make it my own.
Awesome. Thanks, Benny.
And we're back again, guys, and finishing up now. How have we felt about the whole series of 5 podcasts we've done?
Can we do some more?
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
yeah, well, honestly, I think it's made us look a lot more critically at ourselves and what we do. And I guess putting us in that perspective that we put our kids in. I don't do positive feedback, as you know very well. That's something I've struggled with a lot. So, I guess it's made us realise that what we're doing is working for our kids, and hopefully we can get it out there to help others.
I think we've also been really intentional this year as well, haven't we? Looking at our pillars and going, okay, where can we refine it with this group of kids? What isn't working as well with this group of kids that we might need to refine so that it fits more globally rather than each specific year? So that's been ever refining our pillars.
Yes. Recrafting.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Taking on the feedback, revising it, refining it, and finding our better vocab so that we come up with something that's more extensive, I guess.
Yeah. It's real action research. It's it's that, which is what teaching is at its best. That there isn't an end point. We've got everything. It's this continual refining and recrafting, because the children sitting in front of us are the ones who determine what they need and what they need from us and the way that we work with them. But undoubtedly the structures that that the 5 pillars have really brought together have been, I am so envious. One day I said, how about you put your 5 pillars together? And the next day we've got the 5 pillars, which is such a testament to...
Albeit I think it was 4 different versions by the time we went, no, we should change that bit. Oh, no, but that's not quite right.
And even after the first podcast, we still went back and went...
We did,
And even
not
now,
quite happy.
You will continue to
refine them.
To refine, and that is noble. That's, that's about, what about, and how is it universal? You know, that's the thing that we're all driving down. You know, I think that's...
I think having the was it 8 students altogether?
Yes.
I think having those students just brought it all together as well, didn't it? You know, really highlighted every aspect.
Yeah, because we got to hear from their perspective, and it's probably not something that we as teachers do, which is say, hey, do you want to give some feedback on what we're doing? And we actually had to step out of our comfort zone and say, so what works that we are doing and what maybe doesn't work?
And I'd like to compliment them for putting themselves out there to be on this. You know, that was great, really. But I'm sure there's other, like we've just concentrated on writing for this podcast series, but I'm sure there's multiple aspects of literacy we could look at for the future.
Oh, I can just see somebody beaming from the bottom of the screen there.
I don't know who that is.
It's not me.
It's not you.
Secretly inside, Dee.
Yeah.
I know
yes.
it's there.
Just,
and I'm just so proud of you both. Just,
Thank you.
It's not, you don't have to have me say that, but I just have marvelled from the beginning.
I think it's
the way you work and the way you don't always know what you're doing that's working so well. And I think this has been a really powerful process to really get something here that is working towards universal. It's like, and when it's coming from a classroom, coming from teachers, really thinking about the planning and how many cycles you've gone through now in writing. Yeah. Like that's a lot of cycles you have cycled through.
And I also think that working over the years with Sharon, working with you in your classrooms, and also having Zoom sessions.
Absolutely.
And then bringing it all together. How else would we have done this? I mean, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Always such rich conversations with you.
Yeah, invaluable. And as you said about we don't always know that what we're doing is working. Often after we've had a Zoom with you, we'll walk out of the staff room and look at each other and go, I didn't actually think of it like that. Yeah, excuse me, we are doing okay. No, Sharon didn't say okay. She said really, really good. Okay, we'll accept that. Thank you.
We quite often walk in frustrated with what's going on and not see it from the other perspective.
Yeah.
Sometimes another set of eyes on it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really good.
There's the flexible conferring.
Yes.
There's the because you would always come with the frustrations or the questions or you never sat there going, oh, well, no idea what to talk about.
I'm sure we did to start off with. I'm sure there was one or two times where we went, we don't have any questions. And then we went, actually, we're going to look at such and such. What do you think? And then...
Actually, you are spot on. I think that's exactly how it went. Was what do we ask?
And certainly a lot of the early ones,
Because this isn't what we usually get to experience as teachers.
No. So any other comments now, guys, on the series or this one? Any final comments?
I guess I really hope that people are engaging with it and trying it out because and to find out what works for them, because at the end of the day, what we want as teachers is that our kids excel. And whatever that looks like to that child, it's as we say, talking about universality, whatever progress you've made, improvement you've made, however you've excelled, find what works.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. And also just letting everyone know that on Teachific photo examples of things are going to be up there eventually, and also all the planning units and the example of one of the published pieces of writing.
Yeah. Amazing.
Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Dee and Danielle. And bye for now.
Yes, bye, everybody. And thanks again so much for 5 fabulous sessions. Podcasts.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. To make sure you don't miss any literacy learning tips and insights, please subscribe to our show on your favourite podcast player. At Q Learning, our literacy specialists draw on over 30 years of teaching and international consulting experience to deliver world-class learning solutions. We equip, empower and support teachers to become their authentic selves. To find out about upcoming webinars and about how Q can help you and your school, visit qlearning.com.au. And you can get even more amazing teaching resources right now at teachific.com.au. Stay tuned.